without fans in it. You play a football match without fans in it. It can be the greatest game in the world. If there are no people there to watch, it becomes nothing.
Into Johnston. Johnson. And a goal by Johnson. Larson. Oh, he's in. Henrik Larsson. That is sensational. Nakamura. He has done it. Isn't that just typical?
The game is over. The Rebels have won. Champions. That's who we are.
Good evening. Welcome to the Jungle Gyms podcast. You might be having deja vu, but for us, it's Tuesday, the 13th of September. Myself and Paddy, another episode of the Jungle Gyms Tuesday Tic Talk. Welcome to the viewers. Hope each and every one of you are doing very, very well. If you're new to the Jungle Gyms, then please subscribe. And to everybody, please give us a wee thumbs up. And of course, give us your comments. That's what the Tuesdays are all about, the interaction between myself and Paddy and you guys. Well, what a fucking week. What a week. So the Jungle Gyms last spoke to you guys. It was Paddy and McGinty, actually, and it was like a preview of the Real Madrid game. But a lot has taken place in the space of 7 days. So, of course, we were putting our foot back into the water, dipping our toe into the water after an absence of 5 years without Champions League. So we're welcoming back Real Madrid, the champions of Europe. And then on that same day, what did we witness? A new Tory Prime Minister was sworn in. The Queen dies. And then Charles, the only person who was actually looking forward to that particular day, Charles, accedes to the throne and becomes king. So things are fucked up already at that point. There's a period of state-imposed mourning upon all of us where football was cancelled up and down the country. And curiously enough, the only things that are allowed to go on are cricket, rugby, horse racing. It does strike you. It's a wee bit curious at that point. And of course, there's the erosion of freedom of speech. You know what I mean? Like, you get jailed now if you call a nonce. You get jailed if you say abolish the monarchy. So it is 1984 all over again. George Orwell will be cashing in that lottery ticket that he cashed, that bet that he put in back in the day. And whenever you think things couldn't have got any worse, fucking Jedward of all people, stepped into the foray of Twitter. They turned political. They went from pop stars to fucking protesters, and they demanded that the new King Charles returns the occupied 6 counties back to Ireland. And of course, we cannot forget, we've witnessed the comical depths of the staunchness that the cunts across the water are able to recede to. But of course, we've got Paddy in the building. Paddy is the steadying, calming voice. And we're going to put the world's wrongs to the right. Paddy, how are you doing? Talk to me.
Mate, that was some intro, by the way. That was great. Loved that. I think they're ready for round into one. Obviously, we'd have been a bit better, mate, but being the 13th today, we've had a few blips. I had to restart the show in another video, so thanks everybody for sticking in and joining back in, whatever it might have been. But very, very, very strange, mate. The kind of started off the last pod that we done for Optimism. It was obviously before the game. I couldn't even be bored doing one after the game, mate. I was kind of scunnered, dejected walking home for the game. But then obviously the next morning woke up and felt a wee bit of sense of pride again when I looked at the highlights, looked at the game over. So I've done well. And then as you say, it's been a bit of strange time since the games have been called off for fucking whatever reason it may be. As you say, the cricket's been... Is it cricket? Cricket's been allowed to go in. The rugby's been allowed to go in. The opera's been allowed to go in. And aye, we've had fucking Bampots fucking throwing marmalade sandwiches into the street. And
Well, as you said, the opera was...
As you say, mate, thank God for Jedward. If I ever get any more tattoos, this one's going to be John and that one's going to be Edward.
That makes sense, Jedward, yes. Well, anyway, to the viewers, you know, it puts things into perspective. That's what we miss. Whenever football gets cancelled, that's what we miss. The Jungle Gyms, football, and you guys. And Paddy, to a certain extent, I do miss talking to you as well for your banter. But we've got a lot of shit to get through. So, of course, as you mentioned, the mixed emotions about the Real Madrid game, because me and you have not really actually caught up yet about the kind of the feelings afterwards. And it was a kind of mixed emotions. We've got Real Madrid from last week. We've got, thanks, mate, Dan Green. How you doing? And we've got Shakhtar Donetsk. Great to see the working man sport back Donetsk. Couldn't get back into the polo at the weekend. Yeah. It's a fucked up sport, polo. Fucking no my thing. But anyway, we've got Shakhtar Donetsk, an interesting one. We've got other things like the football media focusing on the possibility of Ange going to Brighton. There's a lot of shit to get through, and of course the prospect of minute silence and armbands. Jedward on each ass cheek. That would be a sight to behold. So, Paddy, I guess we'll get into it. We'll take things by chronological order until we just lose all rhythm and perspective. We just go off at tangents. But the Real Madrid game, I think the overriding consensus was a great first half. Second half, they showed why they're European champions. We got a bit tired. We lost our way. Were you proud?
Oh, massively. The first half, mate, was incredible. Ranging for the atmosphere outside the stadium before the game started, and then obviously the atmosphere in the stands as it was kind of building up to kick off. Then you had the Champions League anthem coming back, which I couldn't even hear. I could not hear it in the stadium. That was how loud the crowd was, how loud the roar was. I've been looking forward to hearing it since fucking 2017, but you know what? I couldn't even care less, mate, because I seen them got out with the ball, but all I could hear was the Celtic supporters singing. So that was great. For that moment, and then you saw the Celtic team, they came right out of the traps. They were like greyhounds. They just went for it. And for that moment, you could see that there was an emphasis on the team, that they were coming here to take the fight to Real Madrid. Unfortunately, Cal McGregor's rocket fucking bounced off the inside of the post and came back out. You know, Abada could have done better with one. Later on, Maeda, blah, blah, blah. We missed our chances. We didn't take them against the best footballing side in the world, the most successful club side in human history. You know, that's what happens. When you don't take your chances against clubs like that, they get into half-time. You've got the legendary manager, Ancelotti. Carlo Ancelotti's won multiple titles in multiple countries, multiple leagues. He gets into half-time and he does his thing. He takes Real Madrid for being a team that's on the verge, losing a couple of goals, losing the intensity of the game, not being in the game, apart from maybe one or two players, to then raising them to Real Madrid standards, to world-class standards. You know what I mean? Real Madrid had to raise their standards to the greatest team in the world standards to beat us, which they did comfortably, by the way. They did comfortably in the second half. Modric was just unbelievable. You know, I think he turned 37 a couple of days after the game, mate, and it was just unbelievable. I was sitting there watching it, and I was looking at guys like Hatate, Juranovic, anybody you want to call. They were all trying to get close to Modric. Guys at 22, 23, 24, fast guys, and they couldn't get anywhere near this guy. It was a joy to watch, but a shite fucking joy to watch because it was too good against us.
Yeah, and a lot of lessons to be learned from our players and from Postecoglou, of course. One of the things that you say about the ruthlessness, that's a key feature that needs to be present for the Champions League games. If you don't have a ruthlessness, that killer instinct, then you don't take your chances. You won't convert defeats into draws or draws into victories. And hopefully everybody will pick up on the lessons from last Tuesday. I thought everybody done very, very well in the first half. I don't want to kind of rehash everything that you said because pretty much I agree with almost everything that you say. Nobody really disgraced himself. Of course, we talk about missed opportunities. What I am happy with, although the Maeda chance was a sitter, I'm glad that there's not been a pile on for that. I'm glad that. I'm glad about that. Onwards and upwards. We've got another game tomorrow night against Shakhtar Donetsk, and that's another challenge, a new challenge. And I know that we'll talk about that, but not for one moment will I figure, well, we gave Real a brilliant first half, so there's no reason why we can't beat Shakhtar tomorrow. They're a different animal. And like I'm a boxing fan, and the analogy that I would use is styles make fights. You know what I mean? It's chess, it's not checkers. You know what I mean? So that will be a complicated game tomorrow.
Just before we jump in, then, since you're a boxing fan, I'll go off on a wee bit of a wee sidetrack here. Did you see the news today?
Tyson Fury and AJ.
Yep. Happy?
Yeah. Boxing is one of the horrible sports for politics. It's so prevalent and it stops the fights that you want to see. But Tyson Fury made an offer to AJ to say, fight me in November or December. And AJ said, well, fuck it. AJ is at his lowest point right now. And he said, right, I'll take it. And I'll do it on your terms. A 60-40 per split in favour of Tyson Fury. And I think that's great. So I'm looking forward to it. Do
you think I'll be upset there?
Yeah, I think in heavyweight boxing, anything is possible. On paper, Tyson Fury beats AJ more than 9 times out of 10, 9.5 times out of 10. But heavyweight boxing is heavyweight boxing, and I wouldn't write AJ off. AJ is a good fighter, but he's not as good as Tyson Fury. His personality is fucking worse than mine, man. You know what I mean? AJ is just fucking boring. Tyson Fury, he's the man in terms of like the patter, the way that he's able to school the media. AJ is just fucking boring, but I wouldn't roll AJ out. Would you concur?
I certainly would. I'm happy to go with that, mate. You know me, I'm not the greatest fan of boxing, but I do tune in from time to time. But nah, I'm happy with your thesis.
Yeah. Right, Paddy, let's address one thing. The football media has been entertaining the notion that Ange wants to be the new gaffer of Brighton. So as everybody knows, what's his name? Potter. Graham Potter. The Brighton manager has done very well. He's off to Chelsea now. Best wishes to him. However, there's a vacancy at Brighton. Now, whenever I heard the rumours in the media, a lot of people would have been thinking about Brendan Rodgers and how he left Celtic to go to Leicester.
Yep.
I don't think it's the same thing as that, because Brendan Rodgers did what he could do at Celtic. The only thing that you were looking for more was maybe longevity. Just keep going year after year, try and do better in Europe. That was the only challenge to Brendan Rodgers remaining, because he was conquering the domestic game in Scotland. But it's a totally different narrative, different ballgame with Ange Postecoglou. What is he, about 15, 16 months into his tenure at Parkhead?
14, I think. 14.
Even shorter then. So totally different thing. And Postecoglou, after playing Real Madrid, getting his first taste of the Champions League, why the fuck would he want to go to Brighton? Well, Potter's done. He's already kind of reached that glass ceiling. You can't really do any better than what Graham Potter's already done at Brighton, because nobody really wants to play for Brighton. They don't have a great budget. They're always rebuilding. They're selling players, and they're buying people on the cheap. So whenever the rumours hit, what did you think of it?
Yeah, listen, obviously Brighton is a club in the Premiership. A lot of people want to go and play in England or manage in England because of the financial aspects, this and that. Potter's done well down there. I think he's actually earned his move to a bigger club. I don't know about Chelsea right enough, but I think they were an absolute disgrace, sacking Tuchel. You know, it was the Champions League winner, the season before last. You know, he's done great for Chelsea. But best of luck to Potter in that. But I think I've seen somewhere that he's only got a 33% win rate with Brighton. You know what I mean? So if that's their calibre of manager that they want to bring in, even though he showed a few kind of glimpses and successes on the park, he's kind of possession-based type football and this and that. But good luck to him. But as for Ange going to Brighton, it ain't happening. It's no happening. There's no fucking danger on this planet. It's Big Ange in the building, 14 months in the middle of a Champions League campaign and turned around saying, right, I'm getting my bucket and my shovel and I'm going to build sandcastles down in Brighton. Nope. Forget it. The big Greek's here.
That's it. I've been neglecting the comments. I know that you've been bringing them up, but not actually been reading them out. So who have we got in the house? Any comments that we want to read out? Hope you're all doing
I don't know. I can't see. Egyptian King Brighton could have the Chuckle Brothers for all I care because there's no chance of getting our big Ange. Yes. There was one from our lovely Frank Kennedy. Where is he? Earlier on. Find it. I'll find it. There's there. Get back to the Real Madrid game. Real Madrid were already a world-class team with world-class players, and we competed for 51 minutes or so, and then we were understandably knackered, and they put us out of our misery 3 times. Can't argue with that whatsoever. We did. We ran ourselves into the ground. Doing about the only thing that we could do was press them. Obviously, we've not got the quality to beat them out the park. You know, it's fucking Real Madrid, world-class players, legendary players. So we did what we could. 51 minutes. It was very admirable, very inspirational for me as a Celtic supporter because I saw what our team could do, even if it was only for 51 minutes. But as I say, them getting into half-time was probably the best thing that happened to them because they got to come in, they got to regroup, and they got to listen to the manager who basically fucking put the fear of God up them, changed it tactically again, and did what Real Madrid, you would imagine, do to Celtic. So, aye. There's no shame in it, no shame in getting beat off them at all, but obviously it's no great, but it's a start. It's only the first game of the Champions League.
And another thing that I'm kind of happy about is that our squad, you know, whenever Celtic, we go through that year after year thing, where we build up our players, our superstars, and then the transfer rumours start circulating about who's going to go down. I'm kind of glad that our players are not going to be looking for that first move down because, in my opinion, we've delivered Champions League on the first year that they've arrived. I'm talking about people like O'Reilly, the Japanese mob, Giacomakis, people like that, Juranovic, and they know that if they can have more nights like that at Parkhead, then there's no need for them to go down to England at the first flicker of an eye from one of the big clubs. So that's what I'm happy about. You only go to Chelsea for the huge payoff when you're sacked after a year. You know, man. Fucking Tuchel, he'll be like happy walking to the bank for his big payoff. You know what I mean? Because you've won the lottery ticket whenever you become the Chelsea manager, because you know you're going to get sacked roughly in a year's time, and the payoff is going to be massive. And whether it's Abramovich or this new American owner, things don't change. It's just going to be a problem.
That's the only thing with these kind of contract clauses. I don't know if it's a case of like, say you're a Chelsea manager, say you're Tuchel, and you get sacked the other week. So does your contract only come into play whilst you're unemployed? So if you then become the manager of Arsenal in a week's time, does that mean to say that your contract with Chelsea ends? You know what I mean? And you're no longer kind of paid that fucking payoff.
Something like that actually happened to Antonio Conte whenever he left Chelsea. He wasn't allowed to sign for another English club within like 12 months. And if he did that, he would have forfeited a bit of the payoff. But I don't give a fuck.
I think I'm sure I read that, like, and it was one of the times that Alan Pardew, I think it was getting sacked repeatedly after club, you know, and he was walking away with like fucking, I think he had like a 10-year contract at fucking Newcastle or something stupid, like 8-year contract, then he gets sacked the following year, and then he went to Crystal Palace or some shit like that and gets sacked again. So he was sitting there with like 10 years worth of contracts. You know what I mean? And I'm like, surely God fucking, he's not sitting there with all that money and still want to go into management because you want to touch him. So I think that's what it is. Maybe somebody can correct me, but I'm sure like that payoff only comes into play when you're unemployed. You know what I mean? And as soon as you sign for another club, that's that null and void. You know what I mean? They kind of take over your contract.
I get where you're coming from. I don't think it's like that, but I get where you're coming from. Right, mate. Another surprising bit of news. Rogic, Tom Rogic, a player who is very, very fondly remembered amongst the Celtic support. We never knew what the script was. He left Celtic. He was looking for a new challenge. Was it down to family? Was it down to sporting reasons? And I'll just pause my thought there for a second with Frank Brennan. Our game against Shakhtar tomorrow night is our biggest. You're getting ahead of yourself. I'm going to continue on with my own thought. So we're not on Shakhtar just yet. But Tom Rogic, there was a bit of a mystery because he left Celtic. We didn't know if it was family reasons, sporting reasons, if he wanted to go back closer to Australia, and nobody had bought him. He was still seen walking about in Glasgow in the West End. So it was a very, very strange one. But now he's signed for West Bromwich Albion under the great manager Steve Bruce. It is a fucking strange one, man. Paddy, what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, obviously we kind of heard in the news and the radio or fucking social media outlets, whatever it may be, that he was leaving to go and pursue offers kind of closer to home. So we'd heard, there was maybe rumours about going to China or something or this and that, and being closer to Australia. And then no offers came in, and he's still a free agent, and you're thinking, thought he was leaving to go back home. You know what I mean? What's going on here? And then there was talk of maybe going to Lennon's team, that fucking Ammonia, Nicosia or whatever they're called. And then the next minute he rocks up at West Brom. So I think reading between the lines, mate, I'm just going to suggest this is my opinion, nobody else's. I think he was told that he wasn't part of Angie's plans because, as we know, Big Tam Rogic was a wizard on the ball. Absolute cult, hero, icon, whatever you want to say at Celtic. Scored some incredible goals, some important goals, some beautiful goals. But he didn't have the work rate that maybe Ange would require in his team. So I think for me, he's been told, listen, thank you for your service. You've done great. You've given us a season in the transitional, but it's time to move on, mate. And especially I'm signing up signing in England after the original talk being that he wanted to go home. Big Beaton left at the same time, and he genuinely did go home. He went to Israel. I think his wife was pregnant at the time. They wanted his next way to be reared in Israel. So Big Tam, didn't he? And he's now at West Brom, as you say, with the fucking tactical genius that is Steve Bruce.
I can actually buy into that theory that you've said there. But Ange is I agree, Paddy. Ange released him and Beaton. I think that both of those players were coming up to that period in their contract where they needed the security of their contract being renewed because they only had a year or so left. And I can actually believe into that Postecoglou looked at him and said, look, you're 29, you're 30 years old, to Rogic. Your work rate is not going to get any better than what it is right now. And frankly, it probably doesn't fit into my philosophy. And that must have been a very, very ruthless decision to make, especially whenever you consider how much is revered by the Celtic support. Because Tam Rogic on his day, as you said, is a wizard. And the fact that he's a fellow Aussie as well. He didn't have the pace, yeah. However, some superstars in world football never had any pace, but they were brilliant. But I think with Postecoglou's philosophy, the work rate needs to be 100%. You can't be carrying any passengers. He was that guy that you look to for a moment of magic whenever there was a deadlock between our team and opposition, and he delivered. He duly delivered. I remember going back to last season on Valentine's Day, I think. Going back to Aberdeen away at Pittodrie, when we kind of overcame that hurdle. We hadn't won an away game for ages. Was it on Valentine's Day where we beat Aberdeen 2-1? And Rogic was the catalyst for that.
No, we hadn't won a game away since Valentine's Day.
Yeah, that's the one. And Rogic was the catalyst for that. He was definitely a man for the moment, you know what I mean? But maybe consistently, game in, game out, he wasn't up to Postecoglou's requirements, and he took a ruthless decision. And whenever you talk about ruthless Celtic managers, I'm sure a lot of people kind of harken back to Jock Stein. He was capable of making ruthless decisions that didn't sit well with a lot of Celtic players, but it was for the good of the club, the good of the team. So Postecoglou, again, it's another notch in his bow that he's capable of making these comments, capable of making these decisions. So Paddy.
Obviously, we're only assuming that. Do you know what I mean? It could be other factors, but since we don't know anything, that kind of, to me, sounds like the most kind of reasonable explanation. Plus, you think about Europe as well. Gav, Postecoglou knew that we were coming into Champions League, and I think everybody to a man here would admit that Tom Rogic would not have been able to hack it in the Champions League unless it was against the most defensive side on the planet. Somebody that sat with 10 men on the ball and they could have all the freedom and all the time to just go and run at players. But you put Tom Rogic into that team that played against Real Madrid, he'd have been blown out his arse after 2 minutes. And by the way, there's Sport Lisbon just scored a last-minute goal against Spurs.
Ooh.
On a green and white. You put Tom Rogic into that team that played Real Madrid and he's blown out his arse after about 2 minutes. He would never have been able to cope with the intensity and the speed of that game. For even O'Reilly, who basically replaced Rogic, was blown out his arse after about 55 minutes. You know, he's a 22-year-old man, 21, 22. Tom Rogic is 29 and know the fastest guy in the world. So, as I say, only get great memories of Tom Rogic. You know, there's that fucking absolute world-class goal against Aberdeen, you know, the one that had the Titanic music behind it. The replays on YouTube, the one that secured the treble. First treble. The game at Ibrox, the one where he scored for about 30 yards out and broke a fucking Rangers defender's ankle, which was a 2-for-1. David Bates, it was. David Bates, what a goal that was. The goal against, was it Motherwell last season, I know? The one that was kind of Messi-esque. You know, he dribbled in for the right-hand side just in front of the halfway line.
I don't know.
Do you know what? Might have been Dundee United, actually. But, great big guy, great memories. But, listen, there's better players than he that have been moved on. You know what I mean? So,
Frank Brennan makes a great point as well, Paddy, that if you're Rogic and of that age and of that physicality, the last league that you want to be doing it in, slugging out and week in, week out, is the Championship. That's one of the most unforgiving leagues. You know, it takes a toll on your body. And yeah, that Rogic goal against Dundee United last season was indeed magical. It was. Paddy, another player who's been magical this season is Kyogo, and he's just won the Player of the Month. And the month of August, he got 6 goals in 4 games, and that included a hat-trick against the unfortunate Dundee United side. It seems that we do enjoy playing against them. Kyogo has been in fantastic form. Would you say that he's been the best player of the Celtic squad so far this season? Or is there any other players who are kind of matching him in terms of performances?
No, I wouldn't say he's a standout player, but there's been so many standout players, is what I mean, sorry. You know, Jota's had a brilliant start to the season. Yeah. 2-0 to Sport Lisbon. Boom, boom, boom. Fuck Spurs. Sorry, I'm totally fucking distracted here. Kyogo's obviously been great. He scored some important goals. He's been a good catalyst for team play, you know. But Jota's been excellent up there. Hatate's been excellent when he's come back in for injury. Greg Taylor, I think, has been the quiet assassin. I think he's been excellent. Jens has been brilliant for him in. Vickers, obviously, you know. Big Joe Hart. There's so many players at this point in stage of the season domestically that have been excellent. But obviously, Kyogo's had the vote for this month, which is great. So I don't know if you can remember, but I put a wee video up in the wee WhatsApp chat for us boys to look at. And Kyogo was actually interviewed by the Celtic TV cameras. And the wee man's at Talk English, you know, so he's obviously been learning the lingo. Obviously, he's usually with his interpreter. Or he's talking and then somebody dubs it in the background, kind of Bruce Lee style. But no, he was definitely he was talking the lovely Scottish language, mate, which is good.
I think he said "I am happy" about a dozen times, but I'll take that. That's progress. You know what I mean? More than what Nakamura could do, I'll tell you that.
Correct.
And
Hey, listen, Naka could speak English. Don't you let him fool you.
we do kind of take it for granted living in Scotland, but everybody in the world can speak English. But I think for the Japanese, they don't come from that culture where you need to learn English. So it should be appreciated. We missed Kyogo's intensity last week. I think he's the main one to spearhead us. Well, Paddy, let's not put it off any further. Let's talk about tomorrow night. Kyogo Scottish gave me a stunner. Jap's eyes. I don't know why that came into my head.
Anyway, moving swiftly on.
Indeed. Okay, so Shakhtar Donetsk tomorrow night. I'm trying to put in that. Have you noticed that since the invasion by Russia that we don't say Kiev anymore, we say Kiev. We're trying to kind of give them back the pronunciation. So Shakhtar Donetsk, we're going to go for that. A few talking points. I know that I'm rambling a little bit shit, but we'll try to go back to football. A few talking points, Paddy. So as we know, they shocked Europe. They shocked our group anyway. They shocked us, the expectations, because whenever we saw Shakhtar being drawn in our group, I thought, I'm going to hold my hands up, I thought they're in turmoil. The Ukrainian team, they're not going to have the eye on the ball. They lost a big contingent of the Brazilians that played for them. And that part is right, but they're not in turmoil. Now, they've been playing in Poland for a long, long time now. So Palman is asking, what's a stoner? A stoner is an erection. There you go. So they've been playing in Poland for quite a long time because I believe, with whenever Russia invaded Crimea about 8 years ago, maybe longer, that totally fucked up, their environment and they had to go away. I'm obviously not the political correspondent for the Jungle Gyms, but I'm just kind of paraphrasing. But they're used to be playing over there in Poland, and it's going to be a full house. It's going to be a partisan house in favour of the Ukrainians because so many Ukrainians right now are living in Poland. Paddy, it's going to be a very, very difficult environment. And of course, as I said, they shocked the European group stage of beating Leipzig 4-1. Now, they did that in Germany when they had like Leipzig had the lion's share of possession, but still won 4-1. So it sounds like they're very, very well organised. They're very good at counter-attacking. And I've got to say it, the defending from the Germans was fucking shocking. And another thing, Marian Schwarz, a player who I never thought I'd hear his name again when he left Celtic. I never thought he was a footballer. But now he scored 2 goals in the Champions League. Tell me, what's your thoughts about Shakhtar tomorrow night? What's your expectations?
Well, first and foremost, mate, I had absolutely no idea that fucking Shakhtar, what do you call him? Shved was playing for Shakhtar until you told me the other day that he'd scored a brace. I'm like, what do you mean Shved? Shved who? And you're like, Marian Shved? All right, okay. I thought you were talking about a fucking garden Shved or something. Listen, they obviously beat Leipzig, right, which was a great result for Shakhtar, as you say. Ukraine's in it. Oh, there's a way. Told them already. Ukraine's obviously got its issues now. They're having to play in a different country, a different stadium. Obviously, with the game being in Leipzig away, they came out and took the game to Leipzig. Now, as we know, Leipzig were under scrutiny. They were under pressure. They were in some seriously bad form under the manager who you absolutely love. His name, Gav. What's his name?
Who are we talking about?
The old Leipzig manager that got sacked. Come to the desk. Go.
Oh, to the Thailand. I won one of the best selections in the land.
Yep, Dominic Tedesco. So he gets sacked after the game, I believe. No, right after it, but obviously after it. And he has been replaced by, who was it? Marco Rose.
Marco Rose,
wasn't it? So Marco Rose was the manager of Dortmund last season, who famously came to Glasgow and was beaten by the Rotten Mob. But he's also been to Glasgow before and beat us with Red Bull Salzburg, I believe. So this is his second fucking game. It's his second stint in charge for one of the Red Bull teams. Now, I know obviously he had issues in Glasgow last year. I thought they get fucking beat all there and all, didn't they? Actually, they beat home as well. I think it'll be a different animal when he brings his Red Bull side. Not my top.
But what about Shakhtar?
Sorry, I'm talking about Shakhtar. Aye, so sorry. Shakhtar beat Red Bull, who were in a bit of shit. The manager was terrible. The manager's been sacked. Right. Shakhtar, you look at their team. Sorry, I went away off on a total tangent there. You look at their team, mate, there's no really any standout players, you know, that you kind of recognise as being world class. But you look at the game against Leipzig, there was fucking Schwed, I think it was, that scored a couple of goals. There was another fella who was getting absolutely rave reports.
It's the left winger. Like, he sounds like the name Modric. It's like Mudrik. That's his name.
Mudrik, aye. So he's a 21-year-old left winger. You know, he was getting talked about being good enough to go to Arsenal after the game. They were talking about punting him for 31 million or something, or touting him up for 31 million. So they've clearly got a good few players. But I don't... Listen, you look at that team, mate, and there's nothing that kind of frightens you. I seen somebody earlier on in the comments saying the guy, Lassine Traore, who's a striker, is like 6'4". So he could be an aerial threat, which is something that we should be okay with, because I think Big Jens, you know, he'll be kind of good with guys like that. Vickers as well. Vickers is able to use his strength to fucking go and counter the big guys as well. One thing that I did notice, Gav, the substitute goalie now, who's still their named team captain, is a guy called Andrei Pyatov. Now, Andrei Pyatov, who is 38 years old, played against Celtic the last time that we played Shakhtar in 2007. He was the goalkeeper for them then.
Well done, Paddy.
He's been replaced by a 21-year-old this season, so he'll be on the bench. But hopefully, if that fucking guy gets injured, then he'll be in. So that's 2007. So you look at the times that we've played Shakhtar. So the first time that we ever played them was in the Champions League, and that was 2004-2005 season. That the first season after Larsen. So the first game was away in Shakhtar, whatever the fucking stadium was. We get beat 3-0. I remember it very well. I was fucking walking down Kilmarnock on a night shift. The return game at Celtic Park, we won 1-0. I'm sure that was with it was a Alan Thompson goal, I think. The next time we played them in the Champions League was in 2007 and 2008. Well, that was the second game, but the first time that we played them again was away, and again they won. They beat us 2-0. And then the next game was at Celtic Park. We beat them 2-1, and obviously that was the famous goal by Donati. So as it is, Gav, head-to-head, there's been 4 games over 2 campaigns, and within the 2 seasons, the first game has been played away to Shakhtar. Second game, obviously, home. Now, this season, which is the 3rd season that we'll be playing them, the first game is away to Shakhtar, which could be ominous, you know what I mean? But that could be the 3rd season to kind of break that trend of getting beat after them in the first game, you know.
They do. So, Paddy, one thing, it's difficult to understand how the game is going to get played out, but everybody is going to be vying for the second position, because everybody assumes that Real Madrid are going to finish top. But Leipzig have been turned over at home. Shakhtar are buoyed by the fact that they won away from home. Nobody expected that. And Celtic are sitting here thinking, well, we fucking need to beat both teams at Parkhead anyway, and we need to take a result away from home. So it's wide open right now. Now, bearing in mind that they had minimal possession in Germany, but they got 4 goals, and saying that the defending was pish and they were very, very fortuitous, but they're going to fancy their chances against us in Warsaw. How do you think the game is going to go? And I want to kind of add into that expectations. Now, how does the stock of Ange Postecoglou and the stock of Celtic as a team, as a squad, if we win, will go massively up. But again, with the expectations of us as football fans, and of course, we can be fickle at times. Not each and every one of us, but some of us can be. So if we get beat, then how does the stock of Ange and the squad, how does that get affected if we do get beat? It's going to be a massively pivotal game against them. It could really shape the complexion of the group stage. And we're looking about us now, and we're not feared of anybody. So what's your thoughts on and the effects of the result as well?
I see what you're saying. Like, if we do kind of go to Shakhtar and we don't get the points, it's going to bother people. It's going to affect people. It's going to change opinions. You know what I mean? Especially after the first half against Real Madrid, where we obviously showed that character, that fight, that desire against the world's best team, the world's most successful team in human history. If we take that kind of style to Warsaw, I've got every faith that we can take a victory. At the very, very least a draw. But we can't go there and underestimate Shakhtar. You look at what they did to Leipzig. Leipzig were obviously fucking terrible. The manager's been sacked. Their play was terrible. But they brought in some cracking players. Fucking Timo Werner's back there. They've still got some excellent players like Forsberg, the right winger, like Shabalai, fucking Nkunku, who was supposed to be the next best thing last season. Players like that. Big Halstenberg, who we tried to sign for San Pauli a few years back. Big German left back. Listen, they've still got a good quality team, but it's not been clicking for them. They could potentially bounce back with a new manager stuff. You know what I mean? And it could be that Shakhtar took advantage of a poor Leipzig team. You know what I mean? Which could obviously it could give them confidence, or it could give them overconfidence. You know what I mean? They might have just looked better, and we've really got nothing to fear. But I don't think we can go into games, Gav, thinking, "Fuck, what can they do to us?" I think what we need to do now is go into games thinking, "What can we do to them?" You know what I mean? Because we all know what teams like Shakhtar have done to us in the past. We all know what teams fucking worse than Leipzig have done to us in the past. So there's no point in getting into games thinking, "Fuck, let's be overly cautious here." Big Postecoglou said that. I'm not changing my belief, my style of play for anybody, and he's proved that. He's done it against the best in the world. So I don't see why he's not going to do it against anybody else in this team, in this league, this group stage. Sorry.
I think we need to be brave. We need to be bold, because away games in the Champions League has never ever been kind to us. I'm going to ask you this. Tell me, how many games away have we won in the Champions League group stages? As you're thinking about that, can you just bring up that wee comment for John? Is it John Roberts? James, they like to play on the break and are very quick at it, but have not been up against the intensity that Celtic will bring. Of course, they do like to play in the break, but is that what we've only witnessed from them playing away from home? What are they like at home when it's a partisan crowd, when the pressure's on them to deliver the 3 points in the Champions League? So will they open up a little bit more, or will they stay compact? I don't quite know. And in fact, tomorrow night is indeed pivotal, Gav, in the sense that if we do lose, then we go into our third group stage game against Leipzig pointless, and then we'll be very lucky to finish fourth. It changes the complexion, it changes the mentality, the psychological advantage. So tomorrow night is very, very important. But Paddy, how many games do you recall that we've won away from the group stages in the Champions League?
Mate, I'm struggling to think, but I don't even know if I can. Obviously, we're talking about the group stages, Champions League.
Yeah, we've definitely not won any last 16 knockouts away from.
Oh no, we have not. I'm actually struggling. I don't even think that they would go by my 5 fingers. Am I right?
Oh, mate, no, you don't need 5 fingers. You need less than 5 fingers.
Hey, that's what she said.
Okay, so 2. Hi, Margaret. Good luck tomorrow. Be watching from sunny Spain. I hope you're doing well. And maybe if you stay in Spain for long enough, you might be able to actually attend the Madrid game for Celtic and Real. Right, guys, come on. We have won 2. There were 1-1 in Russia. So, Paddy, tell me about the Russian.
Is that the one with Gary Hooper and Samaras?
Gary Hooper, Samaras, and Forrest caused an own goal from them. We beat Spartak Moscow.
Was that the group stages?
3-2 in 2012 under Neil Lennon. That's when Wanyama was playing for us, Ledley. Yeah, that was our first.
I thought that was a qualifiers. All right, okay.
No, you're probably thinking of the one each game away at Spartak Moscow when Paul Hartley scored a header. That I believe that was a qualifier, but we beat them in the group stage. So this was our first ever victory in the group stage away from home. 3-2 against Spartak Moscow. Aidan McGeady was playing for Spartak Moscow that game.
Get up you.
So here you go.
Right, so who's the other one? Is it before that or after?
This was after, under Brendan Rodgers, 2017.
Oh, Man City.
We beat.
That was a draw. Away. Nah, I've lost.
They play in purple.
Anderlecht.
What was it called?
What? Oh, we beat them.
Fucking hell, man. You heard it here.
I can't remember.
We beat them 3-0. Griffiths, Paddy Roberts, and...
Oh, fuck. Aye. Right. Is that the one Griffiths scored a screamer?
No, it was a tap-in.
All right. I've lost it.
But what was really, really unfortunate, after beating them 3-0, we played them again at Parkhead and we get beat 1-0. But fortunately, that was enough for us to fall into the Europa League at that point. I think that the group was Man City, Anderlecht, and PSG. Even Dale, I hope you're doing well, pal. So we've only had 2 away victories in the Champions League group stages, which is pretty fucking shocking. So history has not been kind to us, but again, I'm going to call you out in it, and I'm going to put you on the spot more. Like, what's your prediction for tomorrow night, Paddy?
My prediction is for a Celtic win, but I don't think.
What's your predictions for tomorrow night?
I don't think it'll be an easy win whatsoever, though. But I'm going to go for 2-1 Celtic.
2-1. Okay. And to the viewers, are we getting some predictions for tomorrow night?
Well, we've got one there for Dale, but I don't know if he was talking about the Anderlecht game or no. But we'll just assume it's the game tomorrow night. So 3-1.
3-1 to Celtic. Dale.
There we go. Stevie Coulthard. 2-1 Celtic. Good man. What about yourself, Gavin? What do you think, pal?
I'm terrible with results, man. Fucking awful, but I'm going to go for... Going to go for 3-0.
I thought you were looking at the fucking Chinese menu there or something on the wall. What's going on? I'm having my dinner later. Oh, come on, Frank, man. For fuck's sake, get some positivity in your life, pal. One each.
Thank you.
Ian McIntosh says 3-2 Celtic. Woodsy 3-2 at the Hoops. Gypsum King 4-1 Celtic. Love it. Love the optimism, mate. Dan. Come on, Dan. Get a grip, pal. 2 each.
I'm trying to make a note of these right now, so we can talk about them.
Yes. As I said, I don't think it'll be an easy game tomorrow, especially with them coming into it with a wee bit of confidence, beating Leipzig in Germany. But as I say, that could maybe be a wee bit of false hope there because they beat such a shit team, you know.
Hey, Paddy, let's spice things up, man. Let's talk about minute silence, armbands. It is a contentious point from a Celtic fan's point of view. We alluded to it at the intro of this podcast. Like Jedward are up in arms, you know what I mean? So you don't want to piss off people like them. But so the
Well,
rumour...
talking about Jedward, sorry to interrupt, mate. Jedward are actually, know that I'm fucking Jedward fans or anything, but I've seen it in the news. Like, Jedward are actually engaged in a Twitter war with Jim McDonald for Coronation Street. The older viewers will remember that cunt.
Okay.
He's a fucking blue nose actor. It was in Coronation Street. Used to battle the wife behind the bar. Funnily enough, so he's. I think he was grew up the fucking side of Shankill or something. So he's on basically giving it, telling Jedward to shut the fuck up. You know. So he's obviously on a certain side, and the wee fellas are doing a bit for the cause. So sorry to interrupt, mate. It was just a fucking aye.
A very topical news, man. That you're our correspondent for Twitter. Right, Pat, so,
yes, yeah, follower.
He's a UBA follower. Well, fuck him. Fuck him. And guys, we're going to be talking about the contentious points of view. So we can get cancelled, so that yous don't get cancelled. So Paddy, the modern night. I hope we don't get cancelled. But the rumour is the modern night we're going to be wearing black armbands, and there might be a minute silence. I don't know why, because like we're playing against fucking a Ukrainian outfit. So if they had a monarchy, which I don't believe they did, but if we were playing against a foreign team and their queen died or their king died, you wouldn't really expect us to do a minute silence. But it's getting imposed across fucking Europe. It's weird as fuck. But so the minute silence, the black armbands, is rumoured to be happening tomorrow night. But even more interesting is that it will be happening. The minute silence will be happening this Sunday in Paisley when we play St Mirren. Talk to me.
Is that confirmed then?
No, I'm just assuming.
All right.
By the way, the media have been painting out that Liverpool and Celtic are the two rogue clubs in the country and in the four nations that will not be abiding by it. I think they've got a very, very high opinion of the working class community, because a lot of people will not be patriotic. So talk to me about, from a Celtic fan's point of view, what's your gut reaction to that?
My gut reaction is thank fuck we're not playing at Celtic Park tonight. Tomorrow night, sorry. I really don't know what to say, mate. Obviously,
Have you got him back?
I'm very much holding back, mate. You know my views on monarchy. People that are born into positions because supposedly they were put there by God or a shite. I've got no love for them. The only time I like to see Betty's faces, which is tucked nicely into my pocket on a wee crisp 20 quid note or whatever. Nah, fuck them. Parasites, every single one of them. Do I understand why there's a minute silence tomorrow? Possibly. Do I understand why they're wearing black armbands? Possibly. Do I think it's wanted? No. Obviously, the club have chose to do that because they've been given an option, but it's one of the ones like, listen, you guys have got the option to do it, but if you chose not to, then there'll be certain social media backlash, there'll be this, there'll be that. These will be the pariahs of fucking society if you don't show some sympathy. So I understand it. It's no really my cup of tea. But if it goes ahead Paisley as well, which I am assuming that it's going to. Again, that's down to St Mirren if they want to go with it, you know. There will be, if our Celtic supporters are allowed in, there will be fucking some boos or some choice words shouted. So come Sunday night, leading into Monday morning, I'm expecting Celtic to be the talk of the steamy, if you want to call it that, because there'll be guys sitting fucking on the end of computer screens, like wanking like fuck, waiting to hear a boo, you know what I mean? Fucking guys with one eyebrow fingering their sister, like, oh, come on, Rangers starts with, oh, go on, boo, fucking boo. No, I mean that'll be people's kind of that'll be their Sunday. You know, sitting just waiting to catch Celtic out. So fuck them. Do what you want. Listen, we're going to get slaughtered anyway. Fuck them.
Well, I think it'll be an opportunity for Celtic fans to vent their own expression, or to express their own opinions, and don't be surprised if they boo, and do not be ashamed, because they're well entitled. We are well entitled to express our displeasure. Not everybody is a royalist, not everybody is a monarch, and to impose that minute silence on every football match, you know, you're playing with fire. They shouldn't do it, because if they want it to be well respected, then don't do it at all. Just fucking forget about it. Football is a working class man's game, and there's a lot of the working class, whether you're in England, Wales, Scotland, Northern Ireland, they're not monarchists, and Celtic are definitely not synonymous with pro-monarchy.
Well, I don't know about the fucking board, but
very, very true, very true. So I don't care about any backlash. Any backlash will be fucking pretentious. It's expected. If it happens and it's expected, we do expect it. So fuck it. Let the people sing. Let the people sing.
Well, there's Frank Kennedy saying it's the same situation with the Poppy stuff. I get the sentiment behind that, but I think because it's this Olgin, you know, and she's a queen, that it will be amplified tenfold at least, you know, for the usual flack that we get. But listen, we're big enough boys to fucking handle it. Do you know what I mean? Everybody's not got the same opinion. As you say, Gav, if you want to be kind of diplomatic about it, you know, everybody's got a choice. I'm pretty sure there'll probably be fucking Celtic supporters that are dab lovers of the Queen, strangely enough. But no for everybody. Monarchy's no for everybody. I'm sure she was a lovely lady to some. But no for me, mate. They're a archaic relic of the past. Them and their whole family, you know, they were fucking walking down the street, war medals, fucking, I think it was Andrew, he's got a fucking breast of medals that size, and he was only in the Navy for about 4 months, you know, it must have been fucking some 4 months.
There's 12 million reasons not to cheer.
I'm trying to watch what I'm saying here, mate. There's people getting lifted in the street for fucking stoning and holding a white bit of paper, do you know what I mean?
Well, let's just fucking thank our lucky stars that fucking Bernard Higgins is not working right now for Scotland Yard, you know, to enforce the law.
Listen, this whole UK, this whole United Kingdom is just turned into fucking levels of North Korea type stuff. Just say 1981.
84.
What's this? Fucking Frank Brennan, like it or not, there was a time when working class people knew how to behave themselves properly and pay our respects and death to those who we didn't agree with or what they stood for, but that's all gone. I am sure you were fucking getting your moment of respect when Hitler was dead, you know what I mean? So.
Yeah, some great figures in history, although they were important to the establishment, they polarised a lot of other people. So you need to understand people's backgrounds and why they're not quite supportive of that. But Paddy, moving on, we have got Starfield injury. He's out until next month. So that's one thing I wanted to ask you about. Jens is going to have to step into the breach for that. Jens has been doing pretty well. Another thing for Shakhtar, assuming that Jens does play, of course, would you go for Abada or Maida?
Maida, all the way, Maida. I think, I know it was against Real Madrid, but for me, Abada just was like a rabbit in the headlights. Scared wee boy, couldn't make the right decisions, couldn't do this, couldn't do that. Again, I'm not going to be too harsh on him. It was against Real Madrid. It was against, what's his face? Mendy, who's a top left back. So you can understand maybe why some people wouldn't get a lot of feeding off that. But listen, as I say, sometimes he looked very kind of raw at that level, as did Jota, but I've already kind of went into a tangent about that elsewhere. But I was shouting for Maeda to come on 20 minutes into the game for his speed, his pressing. So I would like to see Maeda on. I'd actually like to see Maeda on the left come tomorrow night and Jota on the right. Just go at them. Just go at them. Use your speed, and you've hopefully get Kyogo to come on with speed. Giacomakis done fantastically well as well. You've also got the boy Haksabanovic who came on and was a very decent threat as well. Kind of fleeting moments that he came on.
It looks very sharp. I just don't know if he's going to have to kind of bide his time out of respect for Kyogo and Maeda. Out of respect for Abada and Maeda before he gets his turn. But every time it comes on, I know it's only been 10 minutes, 15 minutes, but the guy looks very, very sharp. He looks as if he can play with a bit of arrogance, even though I think he's only about 23, 24 years old. So very, very excited to see what he can do whenever he's given a run of games. And Hacksaw needs unleashed soon. Yeah, definitely. We need to unsheath the Hacksaw. Interesting. Fucking hell, man. Shall we call it a night? Oh, by the way, one other thing, Paddy. The new performance centre at Lennoxtown.
Did you see it?
You saw the video for strength and condition. It looks like fucking massive, and it looks proper professional. Another way to kind of, woo people over whenever you're trying to woo someone for like signing potential. Show them Lennoxtown and this new strength and conditioning performance centre. It looks the bee's knees.
It does, mate. There was somebody mentioned it earlier on. They were talking about Kyogo, wanting to get them kind of bulked up. But Celtic unveiled a kind of video on their, I think it was a Twitter page or something, or some kind of social media feed. And it was the boy John Curry, who's the fitness coach at Celtic and has been the fitness coach since the last one left with Rogers. And they've incorporated a kind of a big gym into one of the indoor pitches in Lennoxtown. It looks good, and you go to see kind of Starfelt. He was there and he was working out McGregor, this and that one, and you could actually see that some of these guys are ripped to fuck. They are massive. Sometimes they might not look it on the camera. Starfelt doesn't really look like a big laddie. You know what I mean? He kind of wears long sleeve shirts, but when you see him in the gym with the short sleeve shirts on, you can see how kind of fit the guy is, and other guys as well. But Callum McGregor as well. He's fucking doing a lot of explosive work, which then leads into you looking back at guys like Callum McGregor who are doing a lot of kind of explosive moves. You know what I mean? They're jumping from post to post, kind of like that. It's not just about standing still and then having a run at people. It's about fucking being like a flea, kind of jump for certain positions. So you can see how the strength and conditioning is working in. You've got the guy Anton Macalone who's come in last season, and it looks to be that kind of speciality, a specialist, is now coming into the kind of front. When you've got guys like John Curry buying into it, he's been allowed to develop his systems and his programs that of course help players. We're not seeing a lot of muscular injuries, Gav. The majority of our injuries have been kind of impact injuries. Obviously, you hark back to last season, at the start of the season.
Oh, hamstrings.
Hamstrings, mate. It was every week, maybe fucking 2 a week sometimes. Kyogo was doing with hamstring, Turnbull, Forrest. Everybody that was doing all the running, they were popping a hamstring. But the guys are in, they've worked with the guys, and we're now turning into a machine. You saw it against Real Madrid, it was non-stop. You've seen it domestically, non-stop. Fast, powerful, energetic, great stuff.
That's it. And I hope that the machine turns up tomorrow night in Poland. That sounds rather World War II-esque when I say that, but I hope the Postecoglou machine rolls into town and turns over Shakhtar, because we need this win. If we don't get the 3 points tomorrow night, it doesn't look pretty because we'll be 2 games in. And nil point, that's not good. But an interesting one. So, Paddy, are we going to do a post-match review? I know that we never had an appetite for it against Real Madrid because we were so fucking apart. But
listen, by the time that we get in for Real Madrid, you know what I mean? We'd have been fucking starting at 11:30 tonight or something. So there was no point. But it's an early kick-off tomorrow. I'm probably good to do one if you want to do one, mate.
Is it an early kick-off, aye?
It's 6:45 tomorrow.
Well, no fucking excuses then.
Exactly. Listen, just before we pop off, Frank, I didn't ignore your last comment. It was a wee bit big.
Was he talking about Hitler? I know that you said Hitler to him.
Aye. Obviously, I was referring to fascism, right? And to me, there's a lot of fascist kind of esque tone to everything that's going on in the new, right? Nearly forgot. I was talking about Hitler, and when the wee Austrian with the moustache blew his brains out, allegedly, Dave Valera popped into the German embassy in Dublin and signed the book of condolences. Now that doesn't surprise me. That, you know, there's certain people who are, what's the best way to put it? They've got kind of staggered views in history. So fuck certain people anyway. But back in tomorrow, mate. Hopefully with a result.
Of course, mate. Of course. Right. As we said, it's been a very, very interesting week. Back to business tomorrow night. Hopefully we do get the result away from home. And if we do, things will be looking fan-dabby-cozy. Off for a tug. Paddy, I think you've given someone a stoner.
Yeah, listen. Can I say, man? I need to start charging for this.
Get back to your OnlyFans. Right, to the viewers, again, if you're still with us, go on and hit the like button. You've got no idea how much it means to us. And we're at just over 900 subscribers. The next target, of course, you wouldn't have guessed it, but it's going to be 1,000 subscribers. Another milestone for our little humble podcast. Hit the like button, subscribe. Love you and leave yous. Give us a comment. Aye, Paddy. Cheerio.
What?
I'm going to say cheerio.
All right, adios.
Ciao.
Ciao.